Well, you're right, guys. Today I'm making a strawberry and thyme upside down cake. It's a really simple summer bake. It sounds a bit strange, but the fresh strawberries with the hint of thyme and the soft buttery sponge, oh wow. Anyway, to make this you're going to need strawberries and thyme. I was lucky, my thyme has just started flowering. Some eggs, self-raising flour, butter, caster sugar and light brown soft sugar, salt, baking powder, vanilla essence and a splash of milk. Here we go then. As usual, I'll pop the ingredients on the screen as we go along and the full recipe will be at the end of the video. If you haven't already done so, soften your butter. I might have gone a little bit too far with that, but it doesn't matter. So we need 75 grams of the softened butter and 75 grams of the light brown soft sugar. It's a good time to get your oven on, preheating to 170 Celsius, that's for a fan oven. Cream the butter and sugar together, only takes a few seconds. We're going to use this mix to line the cake tin. I'm using a 20 centimetre loose base tin for this, that's 8 inches in old money. And using a cake spatula, just paint it on. Bit like a plasterer really, and it's much easier to take the tin apart and do it rather than struggle with the base fitted. I'll speed this up a bit for you. There we are, much easier. No need to struggle when you're cooking. Set the cake tin to one side and it's time to chop up the strawberries. We need about 200 to 300 grams, it's hard to tell, it's however many it takes to line the base of the cake, which will be the top of the cake. So just take the top of the strawberries and cut them in half. I tried to get ones of the similar size, but well, strawberries are strawberries and they'll be whatever size they want. I'm lucky to have a thyme bush in my front garden, so I harvested a few sprigs. We need about 1 or 2 teaspoons for the cake mix and 1 or 2 teaspoons of the floury bits for the cake topping. And just use your fingers and pull downwards on the stems. I put a few strawberries and a few of the thyme flowers aside for later, just to go on top of the cake when it's finished. Okay, bring back the cake tin and place your strawberries in, cut side downwards, whatever pattern you fancy. I tried to keep it symmetrical, but like I said, the strawberries are such random shapes that it wasn't really possible. It looks alright though. So strawberries first, and then sprinkle in some thyme flowers. Once you're happy with it, just set the tin to one side and it's time to make the cake mix. Now, it's a classic sponge this, so I do it the 4-4-4-4 method. Whatever the weight of the eggs in the shells, that is the weight of the flour, the butter and the caster sugar. In this case, 125 grams. I use 2 eggs in their shells. Don't crack them, they're in their shells. And I wrote this down because I got a memory like a sieve. Oh, sieve, bacon, oh dear me. Crack the eggs into a mixing bowl and add 125 grams of caster sugar. Remember, it's 125 grams. In with 125 grams of softened butter. And in with 125 grams of self-raising flour. Half a teaspoon of salt. You can leave this out if you use salted butter, but don't leave the salt out altogether. It adds that little bit of umami to the cake. It brings out the other flavours. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, just to get that bit of extra rise. And in with a teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now some people complain that homemade sponges smell a little bit eggy. This is due to the membrane around the yolk sac. You can either remove the membrane with a pair of tweezers, tricky, or you can just add a teaspoon of vanilla essence. Guess what I'm doing? And to add a bit more liquid, 2 tablespoons of milk. And finally for the ingredients, 1 to 2 teaspoons of thyme leaves. Time to mix it all together. I'm using my handheld blender for this one. Be careful when you first start off because the flour goes everywhere. The sooner you get it wetted, the better. I was going to speed this up a little bit, but I decided not to because the whole process only took 30 seconds and this is the real-time footage. And there we are, done. Told you it didn't take long. Bring back your cake tin and carefully spoon the cake mix in. Be careful, you don't want to mess up the strawberries that you took so much time arranging. Once it's all in there, grab yourself a spatula and level it all off. If you haven't got a spatula, the back of a tablespoon will do. When it's nice and flat, away to the oven with it, 35 to 40 minutes at 170 Celsius, or until a skewer comes out dry. Just like this. And this was 40 minutes.
That'll do nicely, sir.
Pop the tin onto a wire rack just to let it cool down for 10 minutes or so.
Right. Okay then, let's have a look at it. Still a bit warm. 10 minutes. Oh, that's hot. Oh. Well, that is very gooey. I'm going to let that set before I do anything to it, because I'll just ruin it, I think. Well, there we are, guys. That's cooled down nicely now. Trying to decide, do I decorate it with a few more strawberries? Let's have a think about this. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe. Yeah, one more. Not the most artistic in the world, but it'll do. Right, and I think, just to set it off, a few thyme flowers in the middle. That one stuck to my finger. There we are. That'll do. Okay, then we got to try this now. So let's have a piece of that. Great looking sponge. Ooh. Great looking sponge there, look. Ooh. Let's put it on a plate. Okay then. I'll tell you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to try a bit of the sponge on its own with the thyme in it. There's bound to be a bit in there somewhere. That is surprisingly different. That's nice. Okay then, let's go for the topping. Oh yeah. What can I say, guys? It's a sponge, strawberries with extra sugar and butter on top, with a little hint that that thyme is doing something. It really is complementing the strawberry. It is so weird. There's a bit there, just thyme. Let's try that. Yeah. That is a double diggy thumbs up. You've got to try this one, guys.